This video is designed to sort of educate customers about EcoWater. We've had such a big following of people who have asked about EcoWater, where they can get them, what makes EcoWater so great. And they go, Drew, you got to do a video with EcoWater so we understand them. And so I've got Keith on the horn here today. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through a series of questions and so that you, the YouTube follower or Instagram, wherever you're seeing us, you get an opportunity to actually learn or actually have the voice of EcoWater per se talk about what makes EcoWater so great from their own perspective. But it's also something that, as we'll dive into, is a lot of the things that they stand for is what resonates with me. As a reminder, I'm passionate about making people more healthy and passionate about helping people save money. And EcoWater is, I would consider, one of the Cadillac brands out there, but in many cases have been able to keep their costs down to that Chevrolet price point. And in that context, I think, Keith, I'd love to be able to get started with you and just ask you about, what is the vision or the mission of EcoWater?
Appreciate it, Randy. Thank you very much for inviting me. Just a little background myself. Again, Keith Johnson, been with EcoWater for 24 years now, surprisingly
Wow.
enough. And kind of almost exciting as that is, it is EcoWater's 100th year anniversary next year. So 2025 is our 100th year anniversary. So how exciting is that? We have the longevity and how many companies even make it to 100 years. We're celebrating ours next year. So we are really, really excited about that.
Yeah,
Touch base.
fantastic. I did not know that.
Yeah, I'll touch briefly on our mission. Missions and visions, every company has those, right? And I'll actually read it out loud, right? So our mission is to strengthen and position as a leading global manufacturer and marketer of high quality water softening and drinking water treatment systems through deep understanding of consumer knowledge, passion for leading edge engineering and designs, and relentless pursuit of innovation in products and processes. And that all kind of actually ties together into our vision. The vision we have, it's a very simple statement, but you're going to love it. Enhance life's most precious resource. Obviously, that's water. That is our passion. That is our vision for the entire organization. Enhance life's most precious resource.
That's great. And what that fuels is the human body. So that's a good thing. That's how you make us more healthy. And I love that. That's very good. So tell me about what is it that made you join EcoWater 24, 25 years ago? What is it that keeps you working at EcoWater?
It actually does tie with the vision, right? I mean, we all interact with water. We all drink water. There's probably not much that's more important in the world than water, right? Water shortages, water contamination, making it better. So it's the health aspect for sure, but it's beyond that. It's the aesthetics, making water better, making your life better because of water. We interact with water everywhere throughout our lives. And to me, the passion of that, the technology, making it better for consumers, right? How do you make their life better? And we do that with our products today. So to me, obviously the people who work great, the dealers are great, Andrew, you and everybody as well. But beyond that, it's like, how can we help the world? And we really are with our products and systems.
Yeah, Keith, there's something I like to say in a lot of my videos, and I talk about the secret to living is giving. And, when you can give somebody water, which we're made of, our bodies are 70% water, our brains are 90% water, and we can make that water as clean as possible, physically possible, that's a real gift. And to me, I want to lay on my deathbed, look back and say, I did something really good, help people live longer or less painful life because toxins are carcinogens. I mean, we know that. Now, nobody can define, drinking water, is it going to cause that or not? But we know that the EPA has done studies on that. And so filtering the tap water is very important. In fact, President Obama's Council on Cancer said one of the top things Americans can do is filter that tap water. And so I think that that's what resonates with so much of the population is they just don't feel comfortable with the water. They don't quite trust it. I had one client one time tell me, Keith, when I told him, "Oh, your water meets the EPA standards, you're good." He's like, he looked at me and he's like, "Andrew, tell me one thing that the government does right." And I was like, I don't have an answer for that one. He's like, "Exactly, I'll take your system." So it was a
Well,
very
absolutely. I mean, you look at this and what's in the water today, obviously we're taking that out, but almost more importantly, what's going to be in my water tomorrow, right? So as things change, as water plumes move around, whatever, you're protected with EcoWater products because you're safe today and you're going to be safe tomorrow. To me, that's almost more important. It's almost an insurance policy that down the road, you're going to be protected no matter what.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how many people have told me, "Oh, this water hasn't killed me yet," and it's like, I know, but when when I've asked them in response, I said, "Okay, well, do you think that every day we're getting our cities are becoming less and less polluted, or more and more polluted, which gets into the water supply?" And they're like, "Well, that's a good point." I go, "Well, sure. Industry today, 20 years ago, is completely different than it was today. And by the way, when the government set its standards in 1980 or reevaluated its standards in 1984, it's diametrically different than it was back then. So clearly, that's a concern. And with new emerging contaminants like forever chemicals, PFOAs, PFASs, clearly being getting products that can take that stuff out of the water is so important.
And
Now, real
even things that we've known about for years. Look at the laws that are changing for the copper laws right now. All of a sudden, they're lowering the limits of copper that's allowed in the water. EcoWater products take that out, right? Lead, all these lead service lines are all over the United States and world, which are basically the water lines going to your house that are made out of lead. Yes, they're slowly replacing them, but there's millions of people getting water through pipes that are based off of lead. Obviously, the EcoWater products take that out and protect you.
Yeah, no, I mean it's amazing. I think that an estimate for Chicago to replace at the pace that they're going, it would be 75 years to replace all the pipes that had lead in it. By the way, they still have wood pipes in the city
Yes.
of Chicago. It's like, really? They
Yep.
haven't replaced those. I'm not so sure that they're going to get to the lead pipes in Chicago. That's a whole nother video that we've done in the past on lead. It's literally crazy to believe that as the United States existed, even though we knew what happened in Rome, we still use lead in the water supply here in America when it got started. It's beyond an understanding. But speaking of the world, where does EcoWater sell their products? Where else around the world is EcoWater manufacturing or selling products?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we've been around for 100 years, right? And we do a lot of business, obviously, here in North America, US, Canada, Mexico. We do a lot in Europe. We sell the EcoWater branded products over in Europe. We're one of the predominant brands and products in China. So we're all over the place. We're the largest manufacturers of water softeners in the world. We are a big player. Again, we've been around for 100 years. And to me, a lot of the excitement is, the innovations that have come out of EcoWater. So if you go back in 1925, it was called the Lindsay Company back then. But EcoWater Lindsay was the first company to make automatic regenerating water softeners way back in 1925. First patent we have, you can see the wall behind me. Those are all individual patents we have. And the first one was for automatic regeneration. But prior to that, people were just carrying in tanks every couple of weeks to go and exchange their tanks out. And the products that Lynn Lindsay designed did automatic regeneration right inside. Taking it beyond there, we were the first ones to have microprocessor controlled water valves. Before that, it was all white tanks or winding the springs and gears. We made electronic back in the 60s. We're the first ones to have connected products, right? Before the internet, we had radio frequencies. We had remotes that you could see your performance of it throughout your house. We then obviously advanced to the point where we are connected today with Wi-Fi, right? So now it's not just a water softener, not just a water filter. It's communicating to you. It's telling you what your water usage is. It's telling you on your phone how much filter life you have. It's measuring your water going in your water filter. It's measuring the water going out. It can tell you on your phone when it's no longer protecting you, meaning you need to change the filters. So the connected aspect has really brought a lot of technology to the industry, and I'm excited about it. It's going to keep developing beyond it. This is just the beginning of the advantages of connection.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yes, I even have a story of a client who was able to stop. They have an alert telling them that there was water flowing outside their down the drain on the water softener, and that was a unique feature that I've never seen in any products. As a lot of our customers may not know, but at Angel Water, we're an independent dealer. We're not just tied to EcoWater, but EcoWater did teach me a lot of things. And one of that parts of that connected that I saw was a tremendous value is running at the drain. I mean, when you're alerted on your phone that your water softener is running at the drain, you're not ruining a sump pump. Or if the unit's installed outside, you're not running water down in the drain and you don't even know that it's happening. So that connection is extremely important. In fact, that leads us to the next question, which is why is EcoWater better products than online or other non-dealer channels? Specifically online. I think a lot of the clients that find us on YouTube, they're looking online and they're trying to find something, or they may have met us through one of the channels that my company markets through, and then they're doing research and they can find something online and they're like, oh my God, there's this huge disparity between the online product and EcoWater. Can you maybe go through that, what you see as the differences between EcoWater and some online companies?
Yeah, absolutely. The online presence, it's growing, right? We all buy stuff on Amazon. The risk you have is this is a product that it's got safety claims to it, right? It needs to be certified. And a lot of those products are imported. A lot are making claims that aren't substantiated. You get some of the importers they'll make statements that are completely ridiculous that aren't substantiated. We don't do that, right? So our products are all third-party certified. We'll probably talk a little more about NSF and WQA, but you will never see us make a claim that isn't certified. It's not just us telling you that it does this. It's a third party. It's NSF. It's WQA certifying it that what we say the product actually does. And the brand's very important as well, right? EcoRun has been around for 100 years, right? So if you ever have a problem with the product, you need to support it. We're here. We've been around for 100 years. We're going to be here for another 100 years. You buy some of these products that are imported from overseas or something, you have no idea if they'll be around tomorrow, let alone what their performance is. So, you want to go with a major brand like an EcoWater and be very, very careful on the online side of things because there is a lot of crazy claims being made out there that really are not substantiated.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back to Thomas the Train, which was supposed to be lead certified free, and yet it came and got imported in. This was probably in the 90s, and here our children are sitting there chewing on Thomas the Train, and the paint had lead in it. And it's just like a lot of the things that come from China, we have to question, and especially the marketing. I mean, when you see a product that says it's got some sort of claim, you really want to investigate it. And I think that that is also, I agree with you, that's one of the criteria that we see as a difference between an online provider and EcoWater. You have a real facility, a real manufacturing facilities in the United States. A lot of times with clients, I would go online and say, let's find out where they're at. I mean, if they're a true factory, we should be able to Google them and find and do a Google map and see a zoomed in, satellite image of it. And when we do that, I can't tell you how many times I sold products like that, zoomed in, and I'm like, looks like someone's retail store. I mean, it looks like someone's garage. They did a great job making the website look like it's really professional, that all these images of factories and all that. But the truth of the matter is the address was someone's garage. And so, a lot of what you're saying here helps explain that your long-term history, the photo in the background, that's absolutely up in Minnesota, correct?
That is correct. That's our headquarters here in Minnesota. So Lynn Lindsay started the company in a suburb of St. Paul, Minnesota. We are still in the suburb of St. Paul, Minnesota right now. So yes, this is the history of our patents on the walls. You can see down the hallway here.
Yes, yeah, that's great. So tell me a little bit more from your perspective, because you're the factory. I'm one of the dealers out there. If you're a consumer, what's another advantage through this dealer channel versus buying online? You see people buy something online, they're going to typically have to install it, correct? Themselves?
Yeah, and what's the right product, right? So there's the dealer value of, Andrew and your teams going out and looking at the consumer's house. What do you need? What plumbing do you have? What's your water usage needs? What are your drinking water needs? And assessing that situation so you get the right product. Even our products, if you put the wrong one in, you maybe not get the results you want. You need a professional that drives and provides the information of what you need, what's the best for your situation, and installing at the same time. You start buying it, installing it yourself. You have no idea how to install it in most cases. You're cutting your water main, whereas professionals, this is what they do every day. They're going to get it installed correctly. It's going to perform as expected, and you're going to get the results you want.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, Keith, one of the things I think that we can see is that when the very first thing I try to highlight to all the people that watch me is to be able to say everything starts with water testing. And if you just go online, companies say, oh, you can buy this, this, and this, no matter where you're at. And it's like, wait a second, it all begins with a water test. And you can't do a water test unless you have someone in the home. And that's where our representatives go into the home, or in some cases, we do ship a bottle so we can actually get that water test and then define it, because there's three aspects to water filtration. And this is part of why I really loved EcoWaters, because your company has a very specific tasks or set of lists that the water is where the product will work, I should say. And so for me, I see that it's mechanical. That's a plumber installing the water product in someone's house and connecting the plumbing pipes. But then there's physics. You can't just install a little itty bitty water softener in a home that's going to have 4 people in it, because it's simply the physical size of it is too small. There's not enough filter material in. to filter that amount of water. And then there's chemistry. We have to apply the right chemistry to the water. So those three things make it a little bit more complicated. And what your company is very good at doing is spelling out the specifics, the specifications that we have to make sure that are honored when we install it. So you say very clearly it will do 9 gallons a minute. You go over that, like a house that has multiple body sprays in a bathroom shower, it may not work that good. So do you see that as well as one of the advantages of EcoWater, all your standards that you put forth?
Absolutely. And in the number of SKUs we have, you hit it on the head, right? So if you just buy something online and put it, you're guessing. You didn't test the water in most cases. Was it sized right for the plumbing you particularly have, for the number of bathrooms you have? You really need to do an assessment at the location to make sure the right product. We have a lot of SKUs. One could argue almost too many SKUs, but we do it intentionally because we need to be able to have a product for all applications. And so you're right, your team would go in there and do the analysis of the plumbing size, the water usage, how many people in the family, how many showers could you be running, and you're going to size the product correctly. You're also going to test the water. What's in your water? Is it well water? Is there iron in the water? Is there chlorine in the water that came from a municipality? It's a different product. If you have chlorine, you want one of the products that reduce the chlorine. If you're in well water with iron, that's a different product. So application testing it, looking at the water, look at the conditions. Do you have iron staining in your toilets and sinks? Well, that's a different product. We absolutely have a product, but we need to get it sized right and select the right product every time. And again, back to your point, our products we all make them in the US, right? They're all made in beautiful Mississippi is where our products are come out of. So we're excited, but we're proud of that. We're one of the last manufacturers of water treatment that actually come from the US. Most of them are being imported from outside of that. So we are excited about that.
No, and I do know that. I want to throw a little bit of a curveball at you because a lot of our clients, they will they will look at a company like yours that sells water softeners and they go online and they Google water softeners. The first thing that comes up is salt-free conditioner. Don't get fooled by a water softener sales company that's selling you a water softener. Now, in our world, we did try selling water conditioners and still do if that's what someone wants. But can you explain to me from your perspective as the manufacturer, why 99, I know you have a couple products that are salt-free conditioners, but can you explain to me why, removing the rock off the water droplet works so much better in the 100 years your company's been doing it versus trying to convert it and keep it attached to the water droplet and it comes out of the faucet yet has all the same problems that, not removing it has. Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the entire industry, us included, water softeners are predominantly what's being sold from a aesthetic standpoint, remove the hardness, right? So we sell some anti-scale products, as you do as well, Andrew. In certain applications, there's people that want that. They'll, minimize some of the scale inside the pipes, those type of things inside the water heater. What we don't get is the true benefits of soft water, right? The soft, fluffy towels, because if you're not taking it out of the water, when it goes into your towels, you dry them, all that hardness still remains in there. You got the rocks. That's why you get the scratchy feeling. The white film on the shower doors, right? After you take a shower, that white film, that's still going to be there because it's still in the different form. Yes, it maybe didn't stick as well in the pipes, but it's still there. Whereas a water softener takes that all out. So you got the shiny dishes, you've got the shiny shower doors that's saying there, a lot less cleaning, softer towels, softer hair. You need a softener to get all those benefits. The anti-scale gets you some of the benefits. To get all the way there with all the benefits, the best water, you need a water softener. There is no other option at this point in the industry.
Yeah, and I do appreciate you explaining that because hardness, it means rock that's attached to the water droplet. That's that white film. People get that confused. And I really appreciate you sharing that because, I don't want it just to be me, but it's like, here's one of the largest manufacturer of water softeners in the world that can manufacture anything. Like I tell customers, I'll sell you whatever you want. I just want to make sure I manage your expectations. If, like you said, you want to the towels to be more soft because you don't want Downy to be used Downy, which I don't know if you've ever read the side of a Downy bottle and seen all those chemicals. It's like, wow, now I'm wearing a chemical suit or drying my body off with all these chemicals because they're rubbing up against me. And your skin is the largest organ of your body. It's like, does that make a lot of sense that you have chemicals that you don't even know what they mean? You can't even pronounce half of them rubbing up your body, or is it better just to remove the rock out of the water right at the get-go? And like you or like your company, it'd be great to have another product on the market, but there's really nothing out there that performs like a true water softener that removes the rock, correct?
And it really is rock. I don't know if people know this, but it literally is rock, right? So you got rain. You collected rainwater, it's naturally soft. You wouldn't have to soften rainwater. But as soon as it hits the ground, it soaks down through the soil. Down below the ground, there's limestone, right? Limestone underneath the water soaks down through the limestone. We then drill a hole as a well, pump it back up. It's now hard. It literally has rock in it, the limestone. Calcium, magnesium, limestone's made of. That's what's in the water. That's what makes your water hard. Water softener removes the calcium, magnesium, giving you back to soft water, similar to what rainwater is.
Yeah, yeah, and in that process, you're also removing some other toxins that can be in the water. Well, great. I love that, and you touched on the history of EcoWater a little bit. Is there anything about the history that we want to touch base on, other than it started Lindsay, became EcoWater? Is there anything else on the history of EcoWater? Maybe a little bit about the patents that you have in the background there?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk all afternoon on this, honestly, but just a little more background on us. Again, started in 1925 through acquisitions. We had a couple other companies, and it became EcoWater back in the 80s. At this point, right now, we're owned by Berkshire Hathaway, so we have huge, huge backing support. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is our parent company with us, so we have massive amount of support and financial backing. That's why we can bring up the technology. That's why we can invest in new technologies. And you look at this long patent wall here, right? It's because of the continual investment in all these years that the organization does, right? Why is it important? This way, consumers, you're getting the best of the best. It's only available through EcoWater, right? We patent it so that it's protected. So when you buy an EcoWater product, you're getting the best of the best. It's only available through EcoWater. So we continually invest in that. We add patents regularly. We've got some patents we're looking at today. Even appearances we patent, right? There's design patents. And why do we do that? Well, we don't want someone making a product that looks just like ours and claiming it's ours and make it look the same. We patent our appearance so that they can't do that. We patent the interconnect, like the filters that go on the ROs. We patent those. And why do we do that? Because we don't want someone else making a filter that they think fits on our system that doesn't work to the same level. So if someone buy a knockoff filter, put it on an RO, well, you're not getting the protection because it's not the same quality of it. So we put patents on it to protect the consumers at the end of the day. So they're getting the performance that they've always gotten. They're getting the best technology because of the patents and the investment from EcoWater.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, because when, someone wants to buy a water filter replacement for a reverse osmosis, we hear that a lot in our company. We hear, wait a second, it's so expensive. Why is it so expensive? It's like, well, I mean, they have a patent on this product. There is no knockoff to it, but what you win out of that is you win a high quality water that's been filtered properly to the standards that they've set forth through NSF. And that means that the toxins that are in your water are probably going to get removed with the water, depending on what toxins you have. But in general terms, like NSF 58, that's a very important certification, or 401, which is the emergence and contaminants certification. It's saying you're telling the client that, or the prospective client, that, hey, when we built this, we're building it so that a nonprofit is going to test it, that we paid up. I mean, I think last I checked, it was over $100,000 to validate a manufacturer's claim, prove that it took that contaminant out. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on NSF for us, so that we all understand why that is, and why there is value, intrinsic value, to a high grade certified system that, by the way, is patented so no one else can knock it off? But more importantly, what does it do? How do you know, what is a consumer, why would a consumer want to have that NSF 58 or NSF 44 or NSF 401 certification?
Yeah, let's talk about that. And we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on certifications, and we don't do it for fun. We're doing this because what we're telling you, the consumer, what it does, it actually does. So it's not our word you're taking for it, it's third-party certification. And you have to be careful with that, because there's a lot of imported items that they'll get a certification on a component. So, okay, they'll say the tank has got NSF certification. Well, that's great, but what about the media? What about the valve for it? So they'll tout that they have certification, but it's only on one component. We don't certify a component, we certify the entire system. So what we're saying is, here's what the entire system does. Here, the entire system is safety. Here's an interesting one. So NSF has a low lead standard, NSF 372. And what that is saying that the products don't have lead in them. Now, it seems crazy, but there is a lot of products still being sold to this day that are lead based. They're lead inside the copper. So it used to be an alloy adding. So you could get a faucet that's imported in without 372, and it could be adding lead to the water. The faucet itself that comes with the product. So again, we go way beyond to make sure that we're protecting the people. We're not adding anything in, material safety, that nothing's being added to the water from all the NSF certifications. NSF 42 is chlorine reduction. Why do I want chlorine out? Well, the city adds chlorine, which is great. It protects the water, keeps it safe, except you don't want to drink it. You don't want to take a shower in it. So when it gets to your house, you want to have an NSF 42 certified product so that now the water you're taking a shower in doesn't dry out your hair, doesn't dry out your skin from the chlorine. You're not drinking it. There's all sorts of NSF 401 is the emerging contaminants. BPA, you've probably heard of that, right? Pharmaceuticals in the water. We have third-party certification through NSF that we're removing all those contaminants as well. So there is a lot of NSF standards, and the number one thing to look for is, are they certified? Is it the system, not just components? Because there's a lot of people selling products online that are just, they say, oh, I'm certified. Well, it's just the component. It's not the system. Very, very important.
Well, yeah, and Keith, I'd love to just get your expert opinion on this a little bit further on that because so when you go online and you find a company, I cannot tell you how many times a client said to me, "Oh, that product's certified too," and it's like, wait a second, let's go to the nsf.org website and check to make sure that that's the case. And you're exactly right. They might have an NSF certification for what's called extraction. That means that the product what it's made out of doesn't get extracted into the drinking water itself, but that's it. Or they don't even have one. They just threw the NSF website logo on their website, and there's no police for the website to actually checking all manufacturers' claims. So that's why it's so important for that consumer to double check it. So NSF, if you go to nsf.org, you can enter EcoWater and find all the plethora of video of certifications that you have. But I'd like to spend just a minute talking about the ones that are really relevant for health, because my passion is about making people more healthy. I don't even think when someone's trying to determine the value of your product, I think when it comes to your health, there is no dollar amount you can apply to it. So if we just look at NSF 58, that proves that it's truly a reverse osmosis system, correct?
Absolutely. That is the certification for for RO. It talks about the performance, the efficiencies, the reduction capabilities. You have to see NSF 58 on an RO system or you don't know what you're buying.
Right. And see, that's a big thing is that a lot of customers will go online and they see reverse osmosis, and it's sort of like buying a car. Well, it's a car. It's a basic transportation that's going to get me what I want. It's like, wait a second. No, not necessarily, because here you have a premier product, which is not inexpensive, but it is certified to prove that it takes it out. And what we've witnessed over the years of selling everything or servicing everything and anything, including the online products, my company will install it or service it for you. But the issue that we've seen is they don't last as long. They're not, in fact, the filter systems, they are so dinky and the amount of filter material inside is so small. It's like you have to change the filters every 3 months versus in many of the cases with your product, it's once a year. But that certification spells volumes of differences because to me, it's your company putting up the money to say, hey, yes, we put our money where our mouth is. And if it doesn't work, let us know. We'll figure it out. And that's what we tell our clients. Hey, we'll apply it to, let's say, arsenic in water. If it doesn't take it out, I'm going to refund your money. Why? Because I know that I have EcoWater's backing. We've actually done that in the Chicagoland area where there is arsenic in the water, and boom, test it before, it's there. Test it after the RO, it's gone. Customers are elated. They write great reviews for us. And so I see that as a really big, important feature. Tell me about NSF 44, because 44 relates to the removal of calcium in the water and radium. Can you elaborate on why your company thinks that's so important and why would that be important to a consumer?
Yeah, NSF 44 is the standard for hardness reduction, right? We talked about the rock in the water. So the NSF is a third-party certified standard out there that says we're going to take the hardness out. It says we're going to take out as much as we're claiming of. It's all supported through that. Barium and radiums in the water as well can be in the water. We have NSF 44 certified to take out barium and radium in the water as well. And as important is the efficiency of it, right? There's a minimum efficiency that's required to meet NSF 44. If you have a non-certified product, they could be using a ton of salt, a ton of water, not getting the performance, but In order for us to get the NSF 44, we have to prove that we can take the reduction to the level we're saying. We also prove that we can take out barium and radium, and also have to prove we're hitting the efficiency numbers that the water softeners, the high efficiencies that products that we sell. So incredibly important from a water softening standpoint.
And that's a great point. You just talked about how much salt someone uses. Can you, over the years I've been in business, I've been able to apply or sell all brands of water softeners, but the Eco Water product uses the least amount of salt that I've seen in the industry. Can you explain exact salt dosing for like a fourth grader to understand why is it that the Eco product uses the least amount of salt out there?
Absolutely. The number one call we get from our customer service center is that exact question. People will put in a brand new system, they'll call us up, they say, well, it's not working. What do you mean? Well, I'm not going through any salt. They're used to putting bags and bags of salt in, and you just don't anymore. They're so efficient that you don't do that. And how we do it is we have an algorithm within the water software, right? It's always monitoring your water usage. So if you go on vacation and don't use water for a week, it knows that it's not going to regenerate. And if you have someone come home, maybe your kids come home from college, use a lot more water, it's going to see that. It's going to know that. And it's going to automatically adjust. The way ours works is we have a pattern over 7 days, and it looks on maybe a Friday. It goes into Friday, and it knows how much water you've used, and it'll say, you know what? Usually there's a lot of water on Saturday. Maybe you do laundry on Saturdays, right? It's going to go in Friday night and say, you know what? I better prepare for this. I'm going to regenerate. I'm going to regenerate some prepare for Saturday, which is fine. Then Sunday maybe it goes in and it says, you know what? I don't have a lot of capacity, but you don't use a lot of money, a lot of water on Monday, so I'm going to wait another day to regenerate. Again, we do all this to drive incredibly high salt efficiencies. We want to use the least amount of salt, the least amount of water, but still give you the soft water that you need out of your product. But by far and away, we're using the least amount of salt out there, and they're incredibly salt efficient.
Yeah, I have a client that we sold a system to and that had an auto troll unit that we had sold them prior. And then they bought your EcoWater ECR 3702. And the customer came through our drive-through to pick up salt, and he's like, I want to talk to the owner. And and he said it like that. So my staff comes in, oh, there's an upset customer in the drive-through. And I'm like, all right, I'll go out there. I'll face anything head on because I know that I'll own it and we'll fix it. And so I go out there and I'm like, how can I help you? And he's like, I just want to shake your hand. And I'm like, really? I go, I look at the person who said that they were upset. I'm like, what? They thought you were upset? No, no, no. I'm just serious because I'm seriously want to meet you because we would buy salt delivered from your company every 6 weeks, and there were 4 bags each time. It was costing us a fortune. And this is the first time in 8 months that I've had to come and pick up 4 bags of salt. That is how much of a savings it was. And I was like, wow, that's phenomenal. What a great story, right? Because they're using less salt, which has made with plastic bags. So if you're passionate about saving the environment, that's 4 bags times 8, right? That's 32 bags of salt. And he used 4. It's like, wow. So I had to do some research to go like, okay, I started selling it. I got to understand what else it was. But it seems like your product does alternate salt dosing. So it could do 2 pounds or 4 pounds or 8 pounds. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, it's almost an infinite level, right? It can use 1 or 2 pounds, or it could use 15 pounds. And it does that based off your water usage, right? How hard your water is, it knows that, how much water usage, and it automatically adjusts. You don't have to do anything, but it adjusts to make sure you're going to get the soft water that you want, but not over salt, not use too much. So it's every time it regenerates, it's going to use a different amount because we use a different amount of water all the time, right? You're not always using the same exact water every day amount of water. And it sees that, it adjusts, it plans for it. The algorithm built into it is going to optimize the salt dose every time it regenerates. So again, it could be 1 or 2 pounds, it could be 12. If all of a sudden you use a ton of water, it's going to use a higher salt dose, but it all does this automatically.
Yeah, I mean, that to me was worth a fortune. If you just take a look at that, gentlemen. I mean, we lost the delivery on that, but I told the client, I said, actually, we're happy because we don't want to deliver salt. There's workers' comp, there's a truck, it's getting stuck in the snow. I got, someone that could hurt themselves if they're carrying that salt in. I mean, we were able to drastically eliminate that with him, and we didn't deliver salt to him anymore. But the reality is, it was such a big win. And so when a consumer is telling me, "Oh, you don't want to sell salt free," I'm like, "No, no, no. I do. I don't want the salt delivery. We lose money on it. I don't want to do it, but I do whenever we apply your product to any of our customers that have had an old version of anything else in the marketplace. they're always saying the same thing that you said is they're saying to us, hey, it's not using salt, something's wrong. Our service techs go out there and they're like, no, it's completely soft. It's all good to go. So
You talked about, I want to mention a comment on, you talked about environmental and contamination, all that. So there's two certifications we have that people don't even think about. We have two end of life certifications. So the end of life of a software, which may be 10, 20 years, whatever it is, but ROS and REACH, ROHS and REACH, they're both European directives, but our products are certified so that at the end of life, when they're being recycled, whatever's happening to them, there's no contamination added to the world. So the ROS is electronic certification, meaning there's no hazardous materials in the electronics, and REACH is the other one. So that again, end of life the product, that we're not adding more contaminants to the world off that. So we have those certifications that people don't even think about, but I'd argue is pretty important.
wow, that's something I learned today. That's something I didn't know. That's great. And that's wonderful to hear that you guys have that. I think that's, absolutely wonderful. And when you take a look at Europe, they tend to be a little bit more advanced. I mean, I know that they outlawed Tide, so did New York for that matter, because Tide was starting to use some nasty chemicals. And they said, we just don't want that in our world over here. And so it's great to see a manufacturer go and be that way for everything that they make. Speaking of other things that create value for your company. Can you tell me what other certifications you have? I think I've read things about the manufacturing process, or can you
Yeah.
share what other certifications you guys really tout as being very important to the consumer?
Yeah, we talked about our manufacturing locations in the US, obviously very important. But all of our manufacturing locations have what's called ISO 9001. It's a quality standard. It proves that you're going to provide quality product. It's a tracking, it's a documentation standard that all of our manufacturing facilities have it. So we're proud of it. If you go and see our plants out front, we put ISO 9000 certified on the sign along the street because of it. It's a big investment. There's a lot of documentation. It's hard to do, but it's very important that you're getting the quality products, consistent quality all the time. We talk about UL. UL is really electronic certification. It's electronic safety. We have UL on the electronic portions of it. CSA is a Canadian standard. We meet the CSA standards up in Canada. FCC FCC is a communication standard so that our Wi-Fi products aren't going to cause static on your radio or lines on your TV. We certify that. So we have a ton of certifications of all our products, everything from manufacturing to performance to the products themselves.
Well, that sure creates value. There's no doubt about that for the product. And it does explain why I've noticed, which we started with your organization about 15 years ago, but we've been in the business for 50 years, is we just see these products lasting longer and longer than ever expected. And as we acquired a company that was in business for 50 years before we bought it. Now, so that's like, by now it's like 75 years old, some of these customers. We've seen products lasting 30, 35 years. So there's tremendous value in buying something that a company spends that quality, that extra quality into so that it lasts longer. So that consumer is looking to have something, that they invest in their home because it's their forever home. It's a perfect, to me, a perfect match for them. Is there anything else that in your mind that a customer should understand when buying EcoWater, or is there something else that creates value for a customer that comes to your mind before we wrap up this video?
Well, back to the patents again. Again, you see the patent wall behind me, right? But it's the investment in it. We're the largest manufacturer, been around for 100 years. There's a reason for that. We're going to be around for another 100. So again, we're always getting the best, the latest, the greatest. And some of the patents that we look at, one is crazy is we have a patent on how to add salt, try to make it easier, right? That's the only interaction you get with a water softener. And we have a patents on that to make it simpler and easier and cleaner. Again, we go out of our way to make the products the absolute best products out there. The best features, right? All our products are the best features. Look as simple as the cover, if where the salt goes on, it's dampened, right? It goes down slowly versus slams or falls off. Again, that's just the premier, the features that you get off of that. The best quality. We talked about ISO 9000, but our products, to your point, they last 20, 30 years in a lot of cases. The connected, again, it's so important. That's only going to get more and more important. Now it's just not just water treatment, but it's showing you that's protecting you. It's communicating that now to your phone because everything's app-based, right? So if you're not opening your counter and looking at your filtration system, you can look at your phone. You'll get alerts off of that when it's time to change the filters. We pride ourselves in certification. We spend, again, hundreds of thousands of dollars in certification. but it's not just for fun. It's there to protect the consumer, give them confidence in what they're buying is the best. What we say, it actually does. And it's incredibly important to look for that as a consumer is looking for a product.
Great. Well, Keith, I mean, you highlighted some things I didn't even know. I'm so glad I asked for this interview with you, and I'm so glad you took the time out of your day to talk to us and to, most likely tons of customers out there that are researching EcoWater. They're trying to understand the value proposition, and they're just a little confused because the internet is just bombards people with misinformation. And not only does that happen with politics, but it happens with products too. So it's so great to have a company like yours explain their position, that you are one of the few that's left manufacturing your products in America. That, I think, it speaks huge volume. I know if I need something, I can go knock on your door, versus conversely, if I buy something from anyone else, it's like, where did they make it? I got to track that down. And I even had a lawsuit one time where the lawsuit came and I said, there's no way, this is a product failure. And then the manufacturer, the judge said, okay, Mr. Wilson, you got to help this client and their insurance company collect payment from the manufacturer. And I'm like, well, they're in China. And he's like, exactly. It's your fault for selling a Chinese product to an American human being, because the reality is that they cannot go to China and go get them to fix this problem. I find you at fault. And I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that. That was the start for me to really recognize that there's tremendous value from buying from American manufacturer. And for me, it started correlating with the health aspect, because the minute I started doing research, Keith, I found EcoWater just had every single certification. And it wasn't through third-party companies from Japan or I don't know where, that I don't even know if they're real. They are literally from nsf.org. I've contacted nsf.org. I've spoken with their scientists there. They explained to me what their value prop is, what they do, and how they throw thousands of gallons of water at your product or other products and make sure that this stuff's taken it out. And so, to that end, I'm just, super glad I've partnered with your company. Super glad you took time. I do want to remind our viewers to please click like. Share this with your friends and family. Anybody that's looking to buy a water softener or buy a filter to make their families more healthy, check out EcoWater. You can find them online at ecowater.com. You can, of course, find Angel Water at angelwater.com or reach us at 847-382-7800. Keith, any last words before we wrap up?
I really appreciate the time, Andrew. I really enjoyed it. And again, we're here to help everybody out, right? Back to the certification, if you look at the list of things, contaminants we have, look for specifics. The PFOAs, the forever chemicals, we're certified that. Most aren't. We have bacteria and virus certifications in the reverse osmosis system. Most do not have that. Again, do your due diligence. Look for the 90 plus contaminants we have. If they don't have the list, you're looking at the wrong products. But thank you very much, Andrew.
That's great, Keith. That's absolutely the best part about this, because what we're marrying for me is my passion on making people live longer, or the health benefits, and your company's passion on providing the highest quality products that take out those toxins. And so to me, if a consumer's looking for that, they can find their home with EcoWater, and they can find the product and do their due diligence. That's what I really say. That's the whole purpose of these videos, is to help people actually do the research and know that I've spent my career now, 25 years, trying to find other companies, what other companies out there that do that. And if anything, more and more are moving away and moving their factories to China, all in an attempt to save money. Now, I get that saving money is important, but to me, my health, my welfare, the longevity of the product is some of the cornerstones of what I'm looking for when I want to sell something to a customer. And most of our customers resonate with that as well. So I hope everyone knows I'm Drew. I'm here to serve you. If you have anything else, reach out to either one of us, and we appreciate you watching today's video. And Keith, thank you for your time.